My game is showing up. Hold. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Anyway, hello. Hi, my name is Hazard Smix, but you can call me Hazard. My pronouns are they and them, and I am the correctly typed creature. I took a nap yesterday, and I fell asleep, and I didn't wake up until this morning. So we're gonna do a doubleheader. So we are starting a little early. We're hopefully gonna wrap up It Gets So Lonely here, and then a bit of a pause. Go tackle a bit more of In Stars and Time, just to make up for yesterday. But yeah, just gonna hop back in. And I believe we have the beach and the castle to wrap up the story. So incoming, we talk a lot. You agree to meet with the mermaid come sundown the following night to make your slow, stumbling way back up the cliffs, then to the cottage you have purloined as your own. Once indoors, you settle down upon your pallet and then you close your eyes. The sighing of the wind outside and the distant rolling of the waves against the rocks do not disturb you. You feel, after your midnight encounter of a Moorish kind, quite at ease, perhaps prematurely so. What happened to the icy fear which prompted your frantic flight to the forest? Where has all that gone? Do you not think you are being a bit complacent? No? Oh well. You will. Okay. The following morning, when it arrives, is cloudy and overcast. It is not a particularly pleasant morning, but at least it's not raining. There is some small consolation. This is a ramshackle place. You rise from a straw pallet stretching, then glance about the interior of the fisherman's cottage. It looked dilapidated last night, which most of it was obscured by the shadows, but it looks even more so when subjected to the morning's light. The cottage's interior has the distinct, disquieting appearance of having been abandoned in a hurry. There is broken pottery strewn upon the ground, and the singular wooden chair, which must have stood by the singular wooden table, is lying on the floor. The doors of the cupboards, meanwhile, are ajar, the shelves within depressingly bare. Sorry. A quick search. Oh my! A quick search reveals a handful of edibles, but there is precious little to be getting on with. If you wish to live here comfortably, you'll have to look into foraging. You ate very little last night, and your stomach is empty. It was malcontent rumblings in your stomach, in actual fact, which roused you from your slumber. But your body seems to be very far away indeed, much like the gray clouds which choke the sky. You are not thinking of your own physical discomforts. You are dwelling, instead, upon the events of the night prior. You cannot help but think of the mermaid. Did you truly meet an aquatic maiden last night during your nightly stroll when you could not sleep? Nightly stroll? I climbed down a cliff. It sounds unreal, especially now that the sun has risen and the shadows from the night prior have dispersed. You cannot quite believe it. It must have been a dream. But why then can you recall it so very clearly? You help yourself to the scant food and drink available to you, all the while thinking of your next course of action. Now what are you to do? You plan a course to return to the shore come nightfall, so that you might once again see the mermaid, but the night will not arrive for quite some time. You need to find some means of keeping yourself occupied until then. The uninspiring interior of the cottage does not furnish you with any particular idea, so you decide to go for a walk. Your soul still ache after your exertions last night, but if you go slowly, you ought to be alright. That is what you hope, at least. You do not want to spend much longer than you have to in the fisherman's cottage, no matter how cold it might be outdoors. Be almost as cold as inside as it is out, and in any case, the cottage is far too small. You leave the cottage behind you and you set off. You do not know where exactly you are going, but you suppose it does not matter overly much. You do not have any particular destination in mind. Very brief. Your meanderings lead you to the cliffs, which are steep and sharp. The drop to the shore is a perilous one, so much so that you have to wonder at how you were able to ascend the cliffs the night prior to meet the mermaid. You are rather more determined than you ever realized. Though I, of course, could have told you that much. You are surprisingly capricious for such a small, slender human. You walk around the side of the cliffs, keeping a sensible distance away from the drop to the shore. You might have survived last night's excitement unscathed, but you do not fancy trying your luck. It would be so like you, really, to avoid a drop to your death in the darkness, only to stumble during the morning's light and take an irreversible tumble. Your fortunes have never been the fairest. Your meanderings along the cliff reveal to you all manner of curious flora. You thought the night prior that the cliffs were weather blasted, but you can see now that your assumptions were incorrect. There are flowers here, very warm and bright, like the sun's light during the summertime. Or you think, with a flush of pleasure, the fair hair of the mermaid, whom you are certain you spoke to last night. These flowers are so very like her hair, it is uncanny. You step to the flowers, draw towards them, and sink down to your knees. The tall grass brushes your ankles like a caress, the morning's dew wetting your skirt. Clothes are getting damp, as are your legs, but you care not for this minor discomfort. You have just yet had an idea. Why not make a gift for your new friend? A friend that, again, you do not know the name to, and you also have not addressed yourself. Communication? Come on. You are sure that she would appreciate it. Why would she not? She told you in a voice which was steep in dolor that she had been feeling lonely. You want to see her again. And when you next see her, you would like to make her smile. It is with this thought in mind that you begin to pick the flowers which are growing upon the cliffside. These flowers do not have any thorns, and their delicate stems snap easily enough between your fingers. You take care when plucking the flowers to leave a substantial amount of the stem intact. You will need these stems so that you may twine the flowers together. Ooh, flowering. You mean to make for your mermaid a diadem, something she will be able to wear in her hair. Okay, so a flower crown. I can not say that. So it is kind of warm in the rest of my apartment. Having the AC run against my back. It does get a little chilly. Put my blanket to the way. Okay. Ah, yes. This tiara is certain to suit her. She is so pretty, anything would suit her. You continue to work slow and steadfast as the weak sun shines. It takes time, but you are eventually able to fashion something you are satisfied with. You only hope the mermaid will feel similarly. If indeed she really does exist. Carefully, you pocket your makeshift diadem, then decide to forage for some food. Why are we calling it a diadem? We could just call it a crown. We don't need to make it that complicated. Although tiara, I guess, kind of work. Well, no, because never mind. You discover during your search some fruit trees whose sweet burdens are enough to fortify your spirits. Well, that's not exactly filling, but for the present at least. Okay. It is fortunate, really, that you are so excited about your moonlight rendezvous with the mermaid. If you were less focused upon the future and dwelt more in the immediate present, you might have more of an appetite. The emptiness in your stomach assuage? You return to the cottage, whereat you mean to wait for the setting of the sun. There is very little to do, you soon discover, in the cottage other than checking the cupboards and sweeping the floor, occupations which both feel depressingly pointless. There are no books to read either, with which you might pass your idle hours. You can go take a nap. You do, however, busy yourself with trying to light a fire so that you might ward off the cold. The time is horribly slow in passing, in part because you have precious little to do, but also because you cannot stop thinking about the mermaid. Will she really return to the shore as she said she would? Can you truly trust her? Oh, you hope that you can. Well, given I do remember getting a warning that I would have to learn how to swim, so I'm feeling I might die by drowning. If I were to put two and two together. If she were not present at your designated meeting place, you think you would die from disappointment. I don't think that. The seconds continue to trickle away unchecked by any hourglass, and as they do, the sun sinks beneath the horizon. Part of you worries, however, that it might still be too early to search for the mermaid. Will she be there yet? You sit there, your stomach tied up in anxious knots, and as you listen to the wind which buffets your window, you hear it. The sound is faint, but you can recall it well from the night before. There's a single, solitary voice. Oh, sorry. I forgot that right-click does it. There is a single, solitary voice outdoors, tempest toss amidst the roiling waves. The voice is a high, clear one, silvery. If needed, voices can have colors, like a finely polished dinner plates in a noble woman's home. The voice belongs, of course, to the mermaid. Who else do you know with a voice as angelic as that? Relief begins to bubble up inside you, a relief so potent you feel dizzy from it. She did not abandon you after all. Why, you wonder, did you ever think she would? You've known this mermaid for not even a day. Let's be a bit more precautious. Voice coming. She said that she wanted to see you. Did you think that was a mere nicety? But not okay. Void, as if by a gentle breeze, you hurry to the door. With trembling fingers, they are trembling, I presume, from the excitement rather than fear, you seize the handle and then turn it. Then you step out into the dark, inky night. You walk towards the cliffs, as you did the night prior, beneath the cover of the inky blue sky, the wind moaning fitfully with every step you take. Your soul still aches from your condition the day prior, but you are able to ignore this discomfort. It seems irrelevant, really, when compared to the prospect of once again meeting the mermaid. You have known her for only one night, yet she has come to mean more to you than your own well-being. It is so dangerous. You would do anything for the mermaid if she asked it. Okay, is this what falling in love at first sight entails? Because this sounds... Sus. I'm wary. Well, almost anything. You hurry down the sharp incline of the cliffs to the shore, almost stumbling in your scuffed brown shoes, which really were not built with rock climbing in mind. So frantic are you in your attempts to once again make the mermaid's acquaintance, you very nearly fall. It is a good thing that you still have enough sense about you to regain your footing. Otherwise, this tale will come to a premature ending. Eventually, you make your way out onto the shore, then approach the jagged outcrop of rock where you last saw the mermaid. She's so pretty. Like the night prior, the mermaid is perched upon the rocks, her fair hair strewn about her shoulders. When she sees you from across the shore, she ceases her singing and her eyes light up. Or at least they seem to. So you have returned to me, my hero, the mermaid says, and then lightly she giggles. Or perhaps should I say, heroine. Her praise makes you blush. You do not feel worthy of it. Nobody has ever called you a heroine before. You do not even think of yourself as a heroine. If the story were made about you, you'd rather think you would be a supporting character, one without her own voice. That is so fucking crazy, given I'm going to be playing that tomorrow. You are not interesting enough. Okay. The mermaid seems to think that you are, though. She's staring at you delightedly, as though you're the only person in the world she most wishes to speak to. The thought makes you tremble, but not as much as the mermaid's gaze. You tell the mermaid that you do not think you are so very brave, but she dismisses your awkward remark with a laugh. I think you are. I saw the way you scaled those cliffs. I thought that was very heroic. Oh. So she saw that, did she? Then did she see how you slipped down the cliffs, grazing your palms in the process, and how you nearly fell? Okay, can we just take the compliment? We can do that. You've never been the most graceful of girls. But to have your failings exposed before as being as poised and as perfect as the mermaid. It stings a little bit. It stings a little bit. More in fact that the resultant gate grazes on your palms, your clumsiness brought you. You tell the mermaid that there was nothing so very heroic about all of that. You are simply excited, that is all, to see her again. You weren't thinking. Well, that makes two of us. I was excited to see you again. She was? Naturally. I had a very good time speaking to you last night. I hoped that we might resume our correspondence. That is why I came to the rocks a bit earlier than usual. I was waiting for you. Did you hear my song? Yes, you reply, with a nod of your head. You heard it, all the way in the abandoned cottage. I called out to you. That was the general idea. I was singing for you. She was? Who else would she be singing to? You do not think that you're worthy of the mermaid's song, but she does not mind dedicating her voice to you then. Well, who else would I dedicate my voice to? There's nobody else to hear me. That is a good point, you suppose. Shyly, you look back at the mermaid. You thank her for her song. It's very beautiful. Then tell her, before you can lose your nerve, that you have prepared a present for her too. Oh, have you really? You have. It is a small thing, nothing more than a silly trinket, but if it would not be too much of an imposition, then... With clumsy fingers, you reach into your pocket. For a few moments, you fret that your near fall down the cliff might have damaged the delicate chain nestled in it, but your worries are in vain. The chain is surprisingly sturdy, given it was made with only a few flowers, and has held firm against the odds. You handle the chain with great care all the same, however, as you pulled it out, presenting it for the mermaid's appropriation. It was for the mermaid that you fashioned this chain. You thought that it would look nice nestled in her hair. You were pleased with the chain when you first made it, but after looking at the mermaid, you begun to reconsider. The mermaid's beauty is otherworldly, so much so it almost hurts to look at her. Your flower crown, by comparison, seems a merry, meager offering indeed. The longer you hold your gift out, the more unworthy it feels. You have half a mind, as the seconds elapse, to snatch your silly, wholly unworthy gift back from the mermaid before she can judge you too harshly. But the mermaid's lip carved upward into a smile, and a voice so full of gratitude it makes your heart throb. She says, "Oh my! Did you make this for me?" Well, yes, you replied, still feeling a little flustered. You saw these flowers earlier when you went for a walk, and they made you think of her. Not you hasten to add that you think her beauty is comparable to these flowers. They are far inferior when contrasted with her good looks. You simply thought you are unable to get the rest of the sentence out, however, because the mermaid interrupts you, not rudely, but with something resembling compassion. Perhaps she pities you? She must be able to hear how your voice is trembling. Did she also see the way your hands tremble? Oh dear. Faint heart has never won the hand of a fair maiden, you know. What happened to all your confidence? I think that your gift is a wonderful one. I did not expect it. I did not all expect it, but it is really pretty. You look at your feet, too shy to meet the mermaid's gaze. Then you say, very quietly, that you are glad that she thinks so, but she does not need to spare your ego. You have precious little of it left as it is. The mermaid seems touched by your shyness. Perhaps she likes her prey to be self-conscious, because she smiles. I am not simply saying things to spare your ego. I am not like that. Humans might spout platitudes as easily as they breathe air, but I do not compliment others unless I truly mean it. Is that not the point of speech? To have an honest dialogue with one another? If one party in a conversation is withholding their true intentions, then conversation is impossible. Playing games is a waste of my time, particularly given my time above the surface is so very limited. Oh. You blush at this more deeply still and survey the mermaid beneath the full fringe of your eyelashes. Then, she really does like it? Did I not just say that? You humans are so very funny with all your second guessing. She was like that too, in the beginning. She? My friend. The mermaid's answer is a simple one, but it makes her stomach clench regardless. Ah yes, her friend. How could you have forgot about her? She used to make me gifts too, you know, gifts like this one. She would pick flowers on the cliffs over there where I could not tread. The mermaid gestures with one hand to the cliffs, which tower above the shore, tall and imposing as though to stab the sky above. And she would fashion them into crowns like this one and bracelets. I was appreciative of her tokens, though she was shimmeringly shy when she first presented them to me. She did not seem to think very much of her handiwork. You and her are remarkably similar, really. There's no guile in the mermaid's voice, but her words have rather taken the wind out of your sails. Of course the cowherd gave the mermaid gifts. Why would she not? The mermaid is beautiful. She is so very beautiful, like a tulare goddess. She seems to invite tribute simply by existing. Were you more religious, or more irreligious maybe? You might even consider worshipping her. Again, we've only known this mermaid for like a day. Though in essence, it's not what you were doing with your flower crown. How silly of you to think that your idea was an original one. I might be accustomed to gifts, but it has been a long time since any human has bequeathed me with anything. This is a pleasant surprise, and I am truly thankful for your kindness, dear one. The mermaid leans forward on her rock as to pluck the circlet from her fingers. Her benevolent smile all the while is unwavering. And now that I look at your gift more closely, I rather think it's a superior quality to the gifts my old friend once gave me. Now this is enough to make you start if the touch of the mermaid's fingers upon your own is not. Could her silly gift really be better than the one she once accepted? I think so. Reference trinkets were all rather clumsy in execution, though I cherished them nonetheless. They were very precious to me. They did not last for very long, though, not when I took them with me to my home beneath the ocean. The render soon rend the fragile links between the flower stems asunder. Their diadem, however, seems more sturdy, but it is, by the same token, very delicate. You must be very good with your hands. You think back briefly on your disastrous sewing lessons in the past, of your numerous failed attempts to thread your needle while the other girls giggled at you, and you blush. You think the mermaid's praise might be a touch too effusive. You tell the mermaid as much, but she only laughs. I do not think so. Now. The mermaid places your follow trinket. Oh, so cute! Places the follow trinket upon her head, over her long fair hair, and surveys you in a manner which seems almost coquettish. Coquettish? What do you think? Think that the mermaid looks radiant, though that is less because of your gift and more because of her natural looks. You tell the mermaid this, though not in terms quite this glowing, and she giggles. You are selling yourself too short. I think your gift is lovely, really. Your flowers rather match my hair. Yes, you answer with a nod of your head. That is why you picked those flowers. She's all you've been able to think of. I am glad that you've been thinking of me. I, in truth, have been thinking of you, though I do not wish to say as much. No? No. It would be embarrassing to confess how much I've been looking forward to our reunion if you did not feel similarly. I do not care to pine for humans from afar. But if you care for me as I do you, then it makes me feel less alone. You hasten to assure the mermaid, your face aflame. Do you ever stop blushing? Goodness gracious. That you do care for her, very much so. Again. Okay. You have not known her for very long, but she has certainly made an impression upon you. She is such an easy conversationalist that time simply slips by when you are together. And it does not hurt, of course, that she is so pretty. I've heard it said, yes, that my looks are rather appealing. My old friend was similarly complimentary. I cannot blame you humans for being so taken with me when my form is so very graceful. Your legs seem rather cumbersome in comparison to my smooth, sleek tail. It must be so very depressing to lumber about on land as you do, living your days beneath the harsh sun and the cool, unfeeling moon. Sometimes I rather think I pity you. But the surface is a good deal brighter than it is beneath the ocean. I will grant you that much. You agree with the mermaid, still feeling flush. I'm at work. The kids, thanks, Joe. You agree with the mermaid, still feeling flush, that there are some pricks having legs, an agreement which makes the mermaid giggle. I am certain that there are, though you cannot I am certain that they are, though you cannot explore the ocean's depths as I can. I'm assuming you have never tried it. You shake your head now. You had never thought to do so, largely because you had never been so close to the sea before. Not in all your life. You did not have much of an opportunity for nautical exploration in the past. You were not allowed to go anywhere then, save to the local church. It was quite a lonely existence. Well now, that is a pity. You were kind enough to give me a gift fashioned from flowers which grow where I cannot reach them, so perhaps I ought to return the favor. The favor? Yes, that is right. It would only seem fitting that I give you something which can only be found in the ocean's depths. Perhaps we could look at it as a form of cultural exchange. Oh no, you protest your eyes wide. You couldn't possibly put such a burden upon her. You did not give her a gift after all because you want to receive anything in return, anything other than her friendship, that is. Her conversation is more than enough to satisfy you. You do not need any physical presence on top of that. The mermaid does not seem convinced, however, by your naysaying. She raises one eyebrow, even this gesture is performed elegantly, then says, if my company is all it takes to satisfy you, then you are easy to please indeed, but please do not rebuff me. I'm offering because I wish to do this. Remember what I said. I do not say things for the sake of it. Well, you remembered if she really doesn't mind. Of course I do not mind. Now, wait here. I will not be very long. It would be rude to abandon my new friend in the midst of a conversation. The mermaid turns her attention to the clear mirror-like water which shimmers beneath the moonlight. Then she dives. Her body arches elegantly through the air, her long, slender limbs cleaving to the surface of the water with a nary a ripple. The mermaid's face is first submerged, then her torso, and at long last her tail. The water rushes forth to envelop her as though it has been waiting for her. It subsumes her. It swallows her. Then she disappears from view. The mermaid is gone, but you are still here. Well, now what are you to do? There's nothing that can be done, you suppose, save waiting. You stand there for several moments, watching the black water lap against the shore. The breeze howls mournfully like a wounded animal as it buffets your hair about your face, returns support around your legs. Time elapses, but how much of it, while you stand there fretfully, feeling as ostentatious as a maypole. When will the mermaid return? Will she ever return? She just said that she... Okay. You're starting to worry, is that all you do? When... Look over there by the rocks, which the mermaid once sat. The water is rippling. It looks as though your new friend has returned. The mermaid pulls herself onto the rock with a surprising amount of upper body strength and smiles at you. I apologize for the wait. I hope I did not make you worry. You were worrying, but you are not half as so honest as the mermaid. Mermaids might be spoken of devious tricksters who lure sailors to death, but they are, in actuality, very sincere. This is one out of many. They are much more sincere than most humans. Perhaps this is why your kind fears them so. There are few creatures who inhabit this world whose capacity for lying is greater than your own. You tell the mermaid that you are not worrying, and she answers with a wry smile. I am not so sure about that. Ah, the mermaid is wiler than you are giving her credit for. She has seen straight through you. But no matter. It took me some time, but I was finally able to retrieve for you a gift. I do not have the means to turn this into a pretty piece of jewelry after you deal with the flowers, but I wish to give it to you nonetheless. It is a seashell, probably, or sea glass. I do hope that you like it. The mermaid leans forward, then holds her gift out towards you. Her slender fingers unfold about it like petals of a flower being folded back and... Yup. Oh, what a pretty gift it is! The ocean might be dark and deep, cold and unfeeling, but the same cannot be said for the object which glitters upon the mermaid's palm. She has fish from the depths of the water, a beautiful shell, one which shimmers prismatic colors beneath the moon's light, much like the scales on her tail. The shell is so very pretty, it quite takes your breath away. You look at the shell worriedly, your teeth biting your lower lip. That is a bad habit, you know. Make yourself bleed, then ask the mermaid if this is really alright. Would a gift like this not be wasted on you? You can find that on the fucking beach. What are we doing here? You can literally walk down the shore and you will find that shell. Okay. Of course not. I want you to have the shell because it makes me think of you. It does? How so? I thought it should be obvious. The shell is a lovely find. As are you. Oh, did she just call you lovely? Surely you must have misheard her. You can scarcely believe it. It is an awful lot for you to take in, but... Now, why are you gawping at me like that? The wind will change, you know, and then your face will be stuck like that, which will be quite a shame. You would waste your good looks, which for a maiden such as yourself would be nothing short of a tragedy. It seems as though the mermaid really does think you are pretty after all. Mermaid with her smooth skin and her fair hair. You could scarcely believe it. There's something almost laughable at the mermaid's compliments. How could she call you pretty when her looks are so immediately obviously superior? Tongue-tied, you look at your feet. You do not know how to reply to the mermaid. You have half a mind to repeat her words to tell her that you are not that pretty, not really, but you fear that might look rude. You do not want to rebuff the mermaid's well wishes. There's nothing for it then but to take the shell, which the mermaid retrieved from the ocean's depths for you. You do not think that you are worthy of it, but neither do you want to refuse it. Again, you can just walk across the beach, find an identical shell. Now, that is a surprise, the mermaid says amused as you reach out for the shell. I did not think you'd be bold enough to take it. Not without more coaxing on my part. You have exceeded my expectations. What a good girl you are. Your heart flutters with this praise, and flutters all the more when your trembling fingers brush against the mermaid's palm. She presses the shell into your skin, and your own fingers tighten about it. The shell is sharp and pointed, and it digs uncomfortably into your skin. It hurts. But there is pleasure in the pain. Okay. This too feels like a gift from the mermaid. Pain? You do not want to spurn it. Even pain can be a precious thing when dealt by one who you care for. Nope. Nope. Even I know. You never knew that before. That is not a discovery we want to make. You hold the shell to your heart, which is beating in a regular rhythm, and look at the mermaid. Then, very softly, you thank her. It is quite alright. It seems only fair as after you shared part of your world with me. I wish to share part of my world with you too. Humans cannot normally descend beneath the ocean's depths, and even if they do, they cannot remain there for very long. You are far too fragile. Would that I could, I would bring you with me to my underwater kingdom where we might be together. The mermaid's melodic voice trails away, suffused with something resembling melancholia. She sighs. Then she shakes her head and smiles. But this will have to do for the present. Please take good care of that shell. Look at it from time to time and think of me. That would make me very happy indeed. The days pass following this nightly encounter with your aquatic acquaintance with almost intolerable slowness. You endure the hours of sunlight as best you can by going for long branching walks amongst the heather, foraging for berries and fruits amongst the hedgerows. You even, when you have mustered up enough courage, take an old fishing line and covered in the fisherman's cottage and try your luck by the shore. Your initial attempts at untangling are without success, but as time passes, your proficiency in that art grows. Some time after you take up your rod, you find you're able to catch the odd fish here and there, small, scrawny things mostly, but meat goes a ways to bolstering your rudimentary diet. You teach yourself how to remove the scales of the saltwater fish that you have captured and how to gut them. You learn too how to cook them over a simple fire. Sometimes you skewer these fish under spikes and roast them slowly, innards and all. You're able to sustain yourself well enough during the day that the faint pangs of hunger you experience never quite go away. Your physical discomfort, however, is secondary when compared to your desire to visit the mermaid. Your days might be dull and dry, but your nights comparatively are made of magic. It's only during the night that the mermaid emerges from beneath the waves, and when she does, you hurry to her side. Never before have anybody took such great an interest in you, not until you met the mermaid. That is why she has grown to mean so very much to you. She is the first friend you have ever had. But if you do not temper your obsession accordingly, I fear she may very well be your last. You care little for the potential danger, however, which lurks beneath your interactions with the mermaid. You want only to show the mermaid how much that you value her. And you hope within time that she'll come to value you too. If you keep seeing her, surely she's not thinking of her human friend who she lost suddenly. That is her plan, at least. Fortunately, your self-serving wish to grow closer to the mermaid seems close to being granted. Your nightly conversations when you greet her come easily enough, the words tumbling from your mouth like thread. You have grown rather comfortable in the mermaid's company, and she yours. She must have, for it is not long after you bequeath your diadem of flowers to the mermaid that she looks at you, then poses a curious question. I was wondering, dear one, whether you mind indulging me. I know this might not seem like an appealing proposition, but I thought it would be remiss of me not to ask. I've seen some of your world, for I have sat on the shore for many, many nights hence, but you have seen nothing of mine. It seems unfair that I should know some of the world that you inhabit, while you know so very little of my own. So, would you care to come with me beneath the ocean's waves? There's much that I wish to show you, sights that cannot, I fear, be accurately represented in language alone. He's going to drown you! Words can be awfully stifling when it comes to communication of experiences such as this. It's quite the florid speech, but at the heart of it beats a simple enough request. The mermaid wishes to bring you beneath the ocean surface so that she might show you her home. You are flattered initially that the mermaid wishes to show you something so personal. But after all this flitter of flattery, there comes an uncomfortable sense of unease. The mermaid might feel at home beneath the water's surface, but what of you? You are a human girl with two awkward, ungainly legs, and you're not made to live under the sea. You frown, and mistrustfully you look at the ocean. It is late at night, as it always is when you speak to the mermaid, and the water does not look blue. It appears instead to be obsidian. The waves moan as they break against the rocks, which shadow the shore like a mighty dragon's bones. They sound angry, violent almost. Salty sea sprays arcs through the air, caught in the moonlight. It shimmers sharp as knives. Hesitantly, you take a step back. You're a little afraid of the sea. It is so restless, so deep, and so all-consuming. It reminds you of a hungry monster. You have never submerged yourself beneath the ocean before. You've never had the opportunity. You do not even know how to swim. You are fearful for your own safety should you consent to dive beneath the undulating meniscus of the water, but do not look so frightened, dear one. I will be with you. I will not let you go. You have my word. Let you go. Shyly, you cancel the mermaid. She's still perched upon a rock, her hands folded neatly upon her. Well, she does not have a lap, not really. You're still afraid, but the mermaid's reassurance does help. Has she not told you numerous times that she is nothing if not honest? Yes, she's going to hold you down. She's not going to let you go. You trust her not to break her word. Oh my god. She would not leave you beneath the waves, abandoning you to a cruel, lonely fate to become the food of so many fish. Oh. Of that you are certain. That is why, despite all your misgivings, you find yourself nodding your head. If that's what she wants, then you will accompany her. You are interested too in what lies beneath the ocean's surface, out of sight. Oh, I knew that you would agree. Thank you very much for humoring me. I will endeavor to make these next few moments the most memorable you've ever experienced. Now, would you care to come with me? I shall be your guide. The ocean stuff might be dark, but I will not let you get away from me, I promise. The mermaid extends her hand towards you, a hand which seems to cut through the moonlight, just like a blade. The moon's celestial rays play against the mermaid's upturned palm so that it shimmers. The mermaid's hair too is glowing, backlit by the selene's glow so that she almost looks like an angel. Her beauty is such that for a few moments you cannot do anything, neither step towards her nor back away. You feel frozen in place, rooted into the sand like some shore-grown tree. You still do not understand why the mermaid has taken such an interest in you, but an old adage does occur to you. You ought to not look a gift horse in the mouth, or ignore the pleas of a graceful, dignified mermaid. I don't think that's how that saying goes. You reach out, your arm shaking like the skinny bro of an ancient tree, and find the mermaid's hand with your own. The mermaid's fingers curl about your own, her nails, only now you notice how sharp they are, digging into your skin. Though the mermaid herself looks very soft, her grip is surprisingly strong. You do not think if she will that you'll be able to get away from her. But why would you want to? It does not mean you any harm. Now let us be on our way. There's so much to see in my underwater kingdom, I cannot wait to show it to you. The mermaid turns to the ocean, towards the ocean, as so do you. A brief moment passes, one during which you allow yourself to stand there, your hand claimed by the mermaids as the wind buffets your hair and your skirts. You inhale deeply. The smell of the salt is heavy in the back of your nostrils, so much so you can choke on it. It's not a particularly pleasant smell, but you have grown accustomed to it after living in your tumble-down cottage by the shore. It is nostalgic, almost. You have a vague feeling as you stand on the precipice between your world and that of your aquatic companions, that you might never be able to smell the salt in the air like this. That is just the silliest supposition, though. Oh my god. You're being foolish. I should make like a red flag toggle or something. Oh my god, this light's like rose-colored glasses. You can't see the red flags. I just fucking The mermaid will return you back to the surface in due course, will she not? She's not. You hope that she will. You, unlike her, cannot breathe in the water. I think she knows it. You open your mouth, meaning to ask the mermaid about this fact, but you're not afforded the opportunity to speak. The mermaid has already shifted, fingers still twined around yours. She dives forward, her body slicing the surface of the water like a knife, and you are dragged along with her. Oh, so cute! We're gonna die down here. The water rushes forward to meet you in a sudden, shocking rush. The mermaid's descent might be graceful, but yours is anything but. You do not know how to position your legs, and your limbs feel awfully ungainly. The shock of the water as it touches your skin, meanwhile, is intense. You do not think the water would be this cold. It's not just cold, it's freezing. It feels as though all the warmth has been sapped out of your skin. If your head was not already beneath the ocean's wave, you would gasp from it. You do not gasp, however. You cannot. Your mouth is open, though. You have already been submerged. Your body no longer feels as though it's your own. Your hair is unspooling beneath you like a thread, and your skirt is fluttering. Your body rocks to and fro as though being soothed in a mother's arms. It is a curious feeling, but it's not wholly unpleasant. If only it were not so cold down here beneath the ocean's depths, you might find it relaxing. It is dark under the surface of water, yes, but you have not ventured so far, not yet at least, that the glow of the moon cannot penetrate its depths. Your surroundings are illuminated, though faintly, and thanks to the precious illumination you can see schools of fish swimming about you. Their scales all glisten as they arc through the waves like rainbows. They do not look like life forms. They appear instead to your fairy tale added mind to be ancient relics brought to life through some sage, arcane sorcery. They are pretty. No, that word is not significant enough. They are beautiful. You do not know as you stood up from the shore how very full of life it was beneath the water surface. You do not know either how very beautiful these aquatic descendants of the deep were. You have never seen fish like these before, not in real life. You have memories, very hazy memories, of dissecting a fish once, and a particularly gruesome biology lesson. But that feels like a very long time ago now. You would far rather think upon your present than dwell upon the past. But the seconds pass, and as they do, the mermaid continues to swim, leading you deeper and deeper into the ocean's depths. Well, once you were close enough to the surface that the moon's light could still slice through the waves, now it's so very dark you can scarcely see. Your vision is beginning to blur. You can feel uncomfortable pressure weighing down in your nerve body. You have descended, you realize, with a ripple anxiety too deep. Most of them are not meant to descend to these depths. The water once cold now feels freezing. It caresses every inch of your exposed flesh as if to sap what little warmth you might still possess. You shiver, and when you do, you swear you can only hear your teeth chattering despite the water which stops your ears. The water is stopping up your nostrils. There's so much water down here at the bottom of the ocean. It's endless. One might be able to breathe on water, but you are not so very fortunate. The body is far less sophisticated than hers. It requires oxygen, with which you furnish your body with continued strength, not salt water. But the thought of trying to inhale the endless water which surrounds you makes you shudder. You would rather not attempt it. You do not have gills. What will the mermaid take you back to the surface? Surely she must know you have fast begun to near your limit. You've been under the water for too long, and it's too cold and it's dark now. In any event, you cannot see much of anything. The joy you once felt during your underwater adventure has begun to dissipate, just like the last few oxygen you still possess. It's time to return to the surface now, but how are you to communicate this to the mermaid? You cannot speak, and she's not looking at you. She's staring instead fixedly at something beyond your comprehension, something far away perhaps in the underwater gloom that you cannot see. Not knowing what else to do, you try to pull your arm free from the mermaid's grasp. You hope that this will signal her that she has grown too carried away in her endeavors that she ought to cut short your expedition and returning to shore. The mermaid does not react, however, to your attempt to escape her. Her grip does not slacken as you hope for from about your wrist. It is in fact quite the opposite. It feels as though she's gripping you more tightly than she was, as if to prevent your escape. But why would she do that? You tap on the mermaid's shoulder to try to get her attention, a gesture which prompts her at long last to turn. Her fair hair billows about her, suspended in water like a shroud. Then she says in that calm, measured, incredibly reasonable voice of hers, "Yes, dear one, what is it?" If you could, you would open your mouth to reply to her, but alas, you are a human girl, not a fish, and you cannot speak underwater. Any attempt to do so would accomplish naught save filling your pretty little mouth with water. The mermaid really ought to have considered that before she started asking you questions, but your comfort seems to be the last thing on the mermaid's mind. She smiles at you gently, delicately, then says, "I understand. Being on water for so long must be beginning to take its toll. Do your lungs feel like iron? Are they heavy?" So she does understand your woes. You might not be able to speak suspended as you are in the dark, murky depths, but communication is not wholly impossible. You nod your head empathetically, hoping that this will be enough to make your distress apparent, but... Yes, that will happen. It is a natural part, or so I've heard, of drowning, not that I've ever had the opportunity to experience it for myself. I am incapable, you see, of meeting my demise in such a manner. Now what was that? Oh no, who could have saw this coming? What could she mean? I mean, the memory answers, get your minds, that this was a calculated act upon my part. Forgive me, dear one, but the moment you consented to sink beneath the water with me, your fate was sealed. Your lungs will be flooded with water soon enough, then you will die. It is not a pretty way to go. You needn't worry about your corpse bloating, disfiguring, or being eaten by fish, though. I will take very good care of it, I promise. In death, you will look lovely, almost angelic. Is that not what you always wanted? You do not know what the mermaid thinks it is exactly that you want, but you think she's laboring under some severe misunderstandings. You would like to try to correct her, you do not want to die, but of course you cannot open your mouth. What a pity. Why at least it saves me the effort of transcribing your dying pleas. I doubt they would be particularly interesting. If you want to know why I'm doing this, then I would not mind obliging. I have no secrets to keep from you. Other than the secret, perhaps then, upon your first morning, she nursed within her cold fish heart's desire to bring about your watery murder? You might have liked to know that before you agreed to sleep below the ocean surface with her. I am only doing this because I had no choice. The other girl I liked, after all, the one whom I adored, disappeared. She went away, and I was never again afforded the opportunity to see her. You remind me of that girl, although you do not look much alike. You do not act very alike either. But you're both humans who, despite your delicacies, have no shortage of determination. How your kind is able to live well when your lifespans are so very short, and you are susceptible to so very many diseases is a mystery to me. Though my lifespan far eclipses your own, and I am far sturdier, I cannot help but marvel at the tenacity of you humans. I know that if I was as fragile as you are, I would not be able to exist in this world. I'd be far too afraid. I would see my own death lurking behind every corner. Just as you can see your own death looming before you. It's not so far very now. You can feel it coming closer and closer and closing its cold, icy fingers around your throat. You humans are incredible. I cannot help but respect you, weak and pitiful though as you are. She affects your tenacity so very much she wishes to extinguish it? This does not make very much sense. Perhaps my words are confusing you, but it makes perfect sense to me at least. My beloved cohort left me. I do not know where she went, or what happened to her. Perhaps she was murdered by bandits. Perhaps she contracted a horrible disease. Perhaps she simply fell and cracked her skull. I do not know. I will never know. For many, many days and many, many nights, her disappearance tormented me. I cannot help but wonder how it came about, but there were so many possibilities I cannot imagine all of them. Though this thought terrified me. It still does. That is why I'm going to take you to my underwater kingdom with me. There, we can be together forever, and nothing will be able to tear us apart then. I will brush your hair, and I will dress you in the finest pearls found in the bottom of the seabed. It'll be lovely. Much, much lovelier than any sort of miserable existence you might be able to eke out above the water. My citadel, you will never be attacked by bandits, nor ravaged by diseases. You'll be quite safe, I promise. Quite safe, yes, and quite dead too, surely. Well, yes, that is the only unfortunate aspect of my plan. You consider your death nothing more than a mere misfortune? The burn might be surprisingly cold after all. But perhaps you ought to predict this. She's parfish. Are fish not cold-blooded like lizards? Probably learned this at some point during biology class, but your lessons begin to feel very faint and far away now. Your body's beginning to fail you. Not taking you much more of this. It is a necessary sacrifice, though. If you were to be happy, I am doing this, for both our sakes. I do apologize for tricking you, but please, try to understand. I really have been lonely. You'd be more inclined to sympathize with her, perhaps if her loneliness was not ushering in your inevitable demise. But you're too preoccupied with your drowning reserves of oxygen to feel much in the way of anything for your captor. You feel the pressure of the water against your eyes, they are beginning to ache. Perhaps you are crying, you do not know. The water masks much of your anguish. You have been drifting underwater for almost 3 minutes. That is a remarkably long time to go without any air. Your vision's beginning to cloud. Your surroundings already dark, looking darker still, unpleasant and obscure, and not at all like the paradise the mermaid promised you. The pain of being suffocated slowly is far stronger and far more oppressive than the sensation of the mermaid's hand wound tightly on your arm. Is there no escape for you? The prognosis, I'm sorry to say, is grim. Your fate, as the mermaid said, really was sealed the moment you met her, churning on the rocks beneath the moonlight. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, You reaped what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in peace, or will you try to fight against it? We will fight against our fate. Ah, I like that look on your face. It is a look full of determination, the same self-said determination which first prompted me to take an interest in you. I can tell you're not happy with this ending. You did not come all this way after all to drown. That's quite the inglorious demise, regardless of how many fine stones and shells the mermaid means to twine through your hair after your death. If you wish to carve out a new story for yourself, then I will be only too happy to indulge you. Just try not to get on the bad side. Or, good side of any homicidal naiads this time. The drowning of fair maid isn't something of a cliché. Your fate is once again in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take? Well, the one path left, we have to go to the castle. Ooh, okay. Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in castles once their belligerent, put-upon heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princess they once dreamt of. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may well be deserted, or the village, which would be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? It's far better to skip the suffering and go straight to the grand finale. That was very astute of you. I did not realize you had it in to be so mercenary. I can only wonder what you will uncover during your moonlight meanderings. The night is far from over, and your adventures are only just beginning. I only hope that your breath up and your courtesies, they might come in handy when one is interacting with the sovereign. Royals can be temperamental after all. If you fail to treat them with the prerequisite amount of respect, you might come to regret it. Okay. Oh lord. Royalty! You follow the path which leads to the castle, supporting yourself on weary, aching legs which feel ready at a moment's notice to detach from your hips. You are little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb, and you feel like a great lumbering thing, clumsy and ungainly. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lay down, and quickly. You only hope as you continue to run that you'll find a spare room available for you in the castle. You do not know what exactly awaits you at the castle, but you have visions as you run of a vast, opulent dwelling. This dwelling will surely be full of finely furnished rooms in which you might rest your weary head. There also might be a king and a queen inside this castle, you ponder, who will be kind and wise, and what are their children? What of a princess? Every good castle must possess a princess who will take pity on you and your plight. You can imagine the face of this generous princess with ease, thanks to the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. The princess will be fair of hair and blue of eye, with soft pink lips and pursed like rosebuds. Her limbs will be slender, her hands dainty and unsullied from physical labor, and her sensibilities will be sweeter than marzipan. She will be kind to you and compassionate, just like an older sister. You do not know what older sisters are like, though, or younger sisters for that matter. You are only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Monarchs do not, as you know, from voracious reading, have the best track record when it comes to caring for the peasantry. Is there not a very famous queen who once said it with a cavalier wave of her hand that the hungry peasants in her kingdom should content themselves with cake if bread was not an option? I think that this might be a misquote, but the point still stands. I believe that is actually a misquote. Though royals are supposed to grant their subjects security in their time of need, this does not always happen. In fact, it rarely happens. Kings and queens and princesses and princes are just people at the end of the day, and they are subject to the same caprices that all humans are. They can also be careless and selfish and inconsiderate. There's no guarantee that this mystical princess of yours in your imagination will help you. Why, there's no guarantee that this mystical princess exists at all. Still, you must try. It is this hope that keeps you going. You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but you finally do it. How much time, you ask? How can I answer that? Did I not say that time has begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwell within it. It's still cold, though, and foggy, and very, very dark. The sun is yet to rise. You can still see the moon very clearly now, though as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. Whoa. The stone edifice the building is imposing, and it drowns you in the shadows darker than the depths of the deepest ocean. The castle's not at all dark, though, not like the night sky above it. When you crane your head, you can see there are lights flickering within in the narrow slit of the windows. It would appear that somebody is home. The king and the queen, perhaps? What of their servants? Or perhaps more pressingly, their guards. You have expected as you stand there that armored knights will accost you for daring to approach the castle of King and Queen so-and-so. Do you not know your place, foolish peasant girl with a dirty skirt? Be gone with you. You are not, of course, a peasant. Your family is a wealthy one, or rather they were before your father made a series of poor financial decisions. You do not look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and dirty skirt, which are torn at the hem. If any guards were to take you for a vagrant, it would not be surprising. But though you stand there dithering, your filthy fingers hooked in the front of your skirt, you do not hear any cries. Nobody sounds the alarm. Lights might be on inside the castle, but there's nobody outside its perimeter standing sentry. There's nobody to impede your entry, and the elaborate iron gates, which are set in vast stone walls of the castle exterior, are open just a crack. It would be a trivial matter to slip in. There's nobody stopping. Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You've come so very far. It would be an act of foolishness to turn around now. Go on, go. You inhale, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, which has, at long last, begun to fail you. And then you step forwards. You saw between the broad iron gates as stealthy and as secretive as the thief. Across the path which leads up to the tall and imposing structure. The domed doorway which leads into the castle itself, hemmed from stone, is closed, but at the push of your palm it swings inwards. The door creaks alarmingly as it opens, and sounds loud enough to split the silence like a thunderclap. You inhale at this and glance around, your eyes darting hither and thither. Okay. If there's any guards posted about the castle's grounds, they should have all been alerted by that sound. Will they come for you at long last? What will happen should they catch you? They throw you into the dungeons? That does not sound like a pleasant way to spend the night. At least you would have a roof over your head though, and you wouldn't have to keep walking. Your feet really do ache. You stand there for an interminable amount of time, your heart pounding a panic irregular rhythm in the base of your throat. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. You are thankful for your good luck though. It makes you wonder, where is everyone? Dead. Decomposing. Perish. Why is it almost as all the people in the world have disappeared? Could you be the very last human left alive? You frown, then you press your palm back against the door. You push less cautiously this time, heedless of the loud sound which splits the silence. There's no point in worrying about the guards, not when they might very well be non-existent. Your entry to the castle secure, you take a step forwards. The door swings shut behind you, and your resultant slam makes you jump. You did not expect it. Your heart knocks against your ribs, and with wild eyes you glance about. You're standing in a vast entrance hall made of stones which splits off into any number of passages. Oh my god. My voice is low-key dying. I might speed run a little bit due to time. If I speed run, I'm just gonna vaguely skim over the descriptions of the place, and then I'll talk when I make comments. Very... Can't hear anyone. Can't hear shit. So either it's gonna be the castle, or it's probably not Rapunzel's Sleeping Beauty, be my guess, would be the fairy tale maybe? With the tortoise. I yell out to people. My voice does reach your ears. How can I hear you? Whatever. Let's be it. Why are we imagining a princess? Let's hand it the work. Okay. Begin to explore. Okay. There's a door. Okay. Could be from fireplace. Push open the door. Okay. Gas. Butter herself is gorgeous. Okay. Is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away? Whoa. Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering four-poster is a girl in a scrumptious red gown who seems to be of a like age to you. You do not have a clear view of the girl's face. Her head is bowed, her gaze directed downward on her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, and from her slender calves, which protrude from beneath her hem of her dress, that she is very pretty. She has a lot of teeth motifs. Why? The girl's hair is golden, just like a freshly cut wheat, but it is the red of her dress which truly captured your attention. She's so striking you cannot look away from her. Oh my god. I'm sorry. What's this baby picture? The girl is not alone in her chamber either. She has a companion, though this companion is not half so endearing as she. And her laugh perched upon her velvet skirt is a doll. The doll's hair, like that of her mistress, is golden, though much of it is hidden beneath the bonnet. The girl is adjusting the china teacup held in the doll's tiny hand, while the rim of the cup glints in the light, which excludes from the fireplace. If the girl's of a similar age to you, it would seem strange that she would content herself by playing with dolls. You're not too old for it? The girl would be more at home, you decide, at a ball, wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes. She should not be sitting in what you presume is a bedchamber, adjusting a teacup at a doll's hand. But you are not afforded much more time to stand there, marveling at the girl because she turns. She raises her head, and her eyes meet yours. You know the girl was pretty when you first observed her, sitting on the edge of her plush velveteen bed, examining her doll. Now that she's looking at you, however, her face is illuminated by the flames in the grate, you can see that you were mistaken. She is not just pretty. She is beautiful, so much so it is breathtaking. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She's simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she's some kind of vision, a waking dream, an hallucination? But no, she's none of those things. The doll on the left is a cold, hard thing made of porcelain and is unflinchingly, reassuringly real. Sheer mirage surely should not be able to handle physical objects such as this. Couldn't the doll be an illusion too? It is strange though. The doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the cult who's holding it. I'm really starting to think our protagonist just falls in love like immediately, and we need to talk about it. The sight of her makes you feel rather weak. You always had a fondness for fair maidens, haven't you? You're rather hopeless when it comes to them, even worse than a knight errant from a courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but, well, it's not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this, attired in red illuminated by the firelight. I suppose I can forgive you for whispering this too, can the girl. She does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. Not fireless in appearance. Okay. Okay, how would I do this? Oh! And voice is probably far less refined than her appearance. It is good to see you. I've been waiting. Has she? It's good to see you. No legs. No like a ballerina, she can advance the space between you. Her room is very large. You must be my new lady's maid. It's been a while, but it's such a relief that you finally arrived. I knew that you would. You never leave me alone. Not when you knew how long I was waiting. I'm so happy. The girl's good mood is contagious, so much so you find yourself being swept away in it. You're tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. You've never been a maid before, but might not be mine being hers. Does not seem like a poor mistress to serve, not if she's always kind. You cannot mask the confusion, however, when it flickers across your face. You're not a good enough actress in any case, it's all happening too quickly. Why you barely know this girl, why is she being so very familiar? It will blink Pavon eyes as you examine this girl. She frowns. Then she sets her fingers sliding away from your own. Or, am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all? The disappointment in the girl's face is abundant, so much so your heart clenches. You do not know her, but you're struck all of a sudden with a intense desire to appease her. You do not want to let her down. That was devastating. You were not aware you tell her that you apply to be her maid, but if that's what she wills, you would not be opposed to it. You pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country and you travel for many miles. You do not know where you are, and you do not know who she is. What? You don't know who I am? It is regrettable, you tell her, but no, you do not know her, though that is no fault of her own. Why, you have spent such a long time running, you hardly even know yourself. Ah, so you are a fugitive then from another country? I see. I won't pry into your past then, if you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everyone in this country knows who I am, after all, or at least they should. It's quite an impressive boast. If it were come from the lips of another, you will find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. You get the feeling instead that she's merely telling the truth. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honors. My father and mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I'm its princess. I lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, but I know that other countries do exist out there. I presume it's from one of those foreign countries that you come from. It is very good to meet you. I always want to talk to someone from overseas. It feels like quite the opportunity. The girl giggles at this and you smile in response. You tell her unthinkingly that it is your pleasure really to meet her, or at least me to. You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. You come to a stop. Then you stare. Did she just say she was a princess? Yes, that's right, I am a princess, and one day, I'll be a queen after I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run the country just yet, but I've been doing my best at my lessons. One day I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was. So she really is a princess. That makes sense, I suppose, given she lives in a castle, but it comes to her a surprise regardless. I had known before you entered this chamber that you were trespassing on a lady of great renown. Why, she believed that she could have you executed for your carelessness. Okay, can we... An ugly red flush creeps up your face, a flesh which marked our Lord. Oh my god. In her dress, that you're very sorry for intruding upon her and hope that she can forgive you. Oh, it's so right. Make nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes. And anyway, you weren't to know. You said you weren't from around here? You nod your head in silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You're not from this world at all. How wonderful. I look forward to picking your brain later. All my servants come from the nearby village. Their tales are all the same, and so are their superstitions. I could do with a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me I was too impetuous, and that I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here for so long, I hardly even get a chance to talk to other girls my age. My last lady's maid was older than me, and so was the one before her. Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate as she speaks, her expression turning by degrees into something rather more pensive. But I haven't seen any of my old lady's maids in a while, or any of the other servants for that matter. They've all disappeared. That was quite curious. How can a whole household full of servants simply disappear? That I don't know. This castle was full of servants once. My lady's maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and a large retinue of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers might have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But then again, they never explain anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. It is so tiring. She said that her ministers sent her servants away? What of her parents, the king and queen? Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy? They would, yes, if they were still alive, but they're not. They did it a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by my servants. Oh. Sir. You had known. It's alright, you don't need to apologize. I'm just happy to have you now. I was getting sick and tired of only having my dolls to speak to. They weren't the best conversational partners. You can imagine, so yes. We doubt any doll, even one made up by a talented artisan with an intelligent face, indistinguishable. Oh my god. Humans would be good at answering back. Oh no, they aren't. They're hopeless at it, really. They're so stony-lipped. You have no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. This castle's so big, and without my servants, it feels so very empty. It gets so lonely here. Looks on the camera. Now that is an interesting turn of phrase. Yeah. Have you heard of before? Yes. Princessy. Actually, learn to speak from servants. Explain our concept is so unrefined. Okay, let me not. Oh, but listen to me yammering on again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you to your room? Yes. The princess announces before you say anything in reply. I think I'll choose just that. I might show you a bit around the castle first, though. It's like a maze in here, and I won't want you getting lost. Again, she has teeth motifs? Which is very interesting. You'll be staying here for quite some time after all. Wait, oh my god. I'm trying to think. They're like loosely based. I'm not sure which fairy tale this is referring to though. The princess seems to hasten to take you on a tour of her home. Fortunately, she does not show all the homes in the rooms in her abode, or long descriptions as to what few rooms she does show you are used for. It's kitchens, okay. Dressing alleys, okay. Bedchamber, ooh, quaint. Nice room. Okay, generally okay. That's we need to sweep it up. We need to clean it up. Right, one time. Find a little cold in here. Those princess doors and cold. Okay. Now we're here, the final stop of our tour. This will be your one room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking. The princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you. Her eyes have turned like those of a loyal dog's. Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she's afraid that you'll turn your nose up at her kindness? For a princess, she is awfully eager to please. This unexpected contrast between the prince's lofty title and her integrating attitude makes you smile. I have a feeling this is not the princess. That's my guess. Be decent guess. Missy, someone's dormitory. Will not be expected to stare in with them. Ooh. Isn't quite will do well good. It's good. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't like much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. Most of the maids sleep beneath the roof in this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's 10 beds up there, and they're so close together. There's barely a room to pass between them. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it the last time I went up there. Not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day, and I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I'd been sulking around, I don't think she would have been the best pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. I couldn't put you up there, though, in the attic with all those empty beds. I didn't think it'd be very cheery. You're not just a scullery maid, you're my lady's maid, which then means you deserve good lodgings, and it'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. Now, it's getting late, so you'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on. I've heard it's something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, one that's unbecoming of our lady. The housekeeper's warned me enough times. You reassure the princess to the contrary, smiling as you do so. Not mind. It shocks too much. No, well be upgraded. Well, I'm glad you understand. The princess answers with a giggle. I really should be off, though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest, we can talk more tomorrow, and if you don't mind my ceaseless prattle, I'm glad you seem to appreciate it at least. I'm sure I'll get tired of it eventually. All my old maids died. Oh, sorry. Must speak. All my old maids did. The princess departs, and in her absence, you take a seat upon the bed. New bed. Now help but think it's all happening very quickly. It does not seem long ago that you were still in the forest, running for your life amongst the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled, grasping branches. The forest might as well be just a memory now, though. You're indoors, inside a castle no less, and have been given a room in which to sleep and clothes that you might wear. Seems premature still to declare that you're out of the woods in a metaphorical sense, I mean, but things certainly could be worse. Alright, trying to plane. Anything? Oh, we're not taking a bath? Okay. Tired. Or go to sleep. Though in this case, I'd rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worse rather than more than that. They're not dreams, are they, to which your slumbering mind is subjected? You know that they are not. Otherwise, your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. The images that flicker beneath your closed eyelids like the ghostly images, and what is this word? No, were not conjured from within your mind. They were instead taken from your memories. You're not merely dreaming, you are remembering. Remember the girls who slept in your dormitory and how they always hastened to use the shower first so you were last for breakfast. Remember how when you finally did arrive at the dining hall, the most desirable morsels have already been snapped, not beloved by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled too to find a seat once you finally did get your hands on some food because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. The other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked for these favors mind, for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies too, many of them wealthier than you. When everyone had the airs and graces of a princess, how was anybody supposed to stand out? You stood out the least in your class. Perhaps you were the one the smallest, the frailest, the sickliest, who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor health did not stop the other girls from treating you as a servant, though. When they remembered that you existed, of course. It was your lot in life, as you dealt with the stone walls of the conservatoire, to carry school bags across the field like a pack mule. Then came the evenings, the girls in dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons and iron out creases and wrinkles in your uniforms. If there was an odd job that needed performing, you would always be asked. But this girl did not ask you. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead. As they ordered you, they laughed at you. They laughed and they laughed and they laughed. The laughter hurt, but it hurt considerably less than the kicks did, and then the slaps and the pinches. Once during a boarding lesson, one of your classmates had an accident with her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least pretended to, and before you knew it, the silvery blades and scissors were embedded in your left palm. This happened quite some time ago when you were even littler than you are now, but you can still remember it. It hurt a lot. The scissors were sharp and they perforated your skin, not all the way to the bone, but enough to bleed. Your wound bled bright red like strawberry jam all over your embroidery. Then when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned as pale as way, and she looked for a few moments as if she might faint, though you were the one who's in pain. The professor looked at your face, she could not bear to look at your hand, and then demanded to know why you could not be more careful. Her tone had been an accusatory one, as almost if you had stabbed yourself in the hand with your scissors to goad her. The pain in your hand hurt, but the giggles of your persecutors hurt all the more. They never will punish for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everyone else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, when it was all said and done, was not too deep. You did not need any stitches. It healed well enough in time on its own, though it did leave a scar, a white raised thing like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. You do not know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot back in the classroom, but it could not have been that much, evidently. If everyone had been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps your classroom too might have felt a modicum of guilt over what they did. But this seems very unlikely. You know your blood meant nothing to your classmates. I should have meant nothing, then the blood in your veins was even more inconsequential. I wake up. I don't remember what happened. We wake up in a room. Blah, 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 we're awake. It's over. We are now being a maid. Something has changed. One student. Other research. Okay. We are now mating. March one. Get this people away. Okay, we're seeing beginning loss. The other one's not to be response. No. Done something. Alright, we're entering the bedroom. Look around. It's the same as we remember it. This thing's higher. She's still fucking asleep. Alright, wake up. Alright, we call out to the princess, but she's largely unresponsive. Her eyelashes are sewn tightly shut, and her lips pursed in slumber. You purse your lips too and sigh. Well, no one ever said your job would be easy. Once again, you call to the princess, and this time she replies. Her response is not a favorable one, however. Ugh. Give me a little longer. Oh, it sucks. Wake up! You tell her once again, more sternly, you will not let her sleep for she slept long enough already. Oh, alright, I can see I cannot twist you around my little finger. Oh, so cute! I'm up, you don't need to nag me. Once you have roused the princess from her bed and you put her doll to one side, you set up her toilet. Toilet? You aid the princess in the brushing of her hair, a chore to which she submits willingly. Like a cat, allow its fur to be brushed. You let herself ponder how you run the bushes of your princess's hair, how wonderfully soft it feels against her skin. Are you alright, dear one? You're rather lost in thought there. Now, I do have a question. She does have, like, braids in her hair. How exactly does one brush that? Look lively now, you wouldn't want the princess to catch one of your salacious thoughts, would you? I thought you had learned your lesson about that already. Princess Tress has been taken care of, you sort in her attire. Okay. Oh, super shouldn't they last? Yes, it's alright, it's what you're supposed to do if you're my lady's maid. I'm used to being dressed and undressed. I'm not a bit squeamish about it. She might not be a bit squeamish about it, but you are. You've never seen a naked woman before something yourself. Even then, however, you're always dressed and undressed fervently, not one to examine your body for longer than strictly necessary. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I feel you there. You've never much liked the way you look. You make a few more mumble objections, so the princess sweeps them to one side easily. It's alright, I might be a princess, but we're both people underneath all our clothes. I doubt we look much different. You are not sure about that. You have not yet seen the princess unadorned, but you already know to look at her face that you are different. She's much, much prettier than you are. But she's waiting, and you do not wish to keep her any longer. You steady your nerves. Then you reach out with trembling hands, and you begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of the princess's nightgown. Okay. You work as quickly as you're able, which, given how badly your hands are shaking, is not very. You fumble with a couple buttons, flinching as you do so. The princess, however, seems blissfully unaware of what is exactly you are doing, or not doing, at the front of her nightgown. She's not even looking at you. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond her shoulder to the window sill and sky beyond it. It isn't particularly sunny, but I don't think it's too cold outside. Going for a walk might not be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one? Would you like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible so you make some progress on dressing her again? The sight of all this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Okay. Fortunately, you were able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown despite your initial mishaps spurred on perhaps by your anxiety. With the princess a stand. That's completed. Princess red dress. Where is it? Can't find it. Are you looking for my dress? Yes. I thought so. I wonder, before you started undressing me, why you did not ask where it was. Maybe it slipped your mind? It has slipped your mind, yes, dear. You're too busy trying to fix this bare skin. My dress is in my armoire, said the glancing over to an aforementioned piece of furniture. Okay. I like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. Would you be dear and fetch it for me? I don't want to rush you, but it is rather cold in here, especially when I'm still naked. That's a good point. Okay, does she not have underwear? Suspected. Twirls in hands, sealing once again the princess's pale skin. Velvet! Oh, jeez. I've been a mission kicked as you ever had to accomplish. More so than the perilous escape to the foggy forest, that's what we're... That's so much better. Thank you, dear one, for your help. You've not been here for a full day, but I always wondered what I'd do without you. Again, it's been a day. Charlie, you assured the princess you did nothing, really. Nothing beyond your job. You did not do anything incredible. And in any case, being complimented by somebody so pretty is embarrassing. Aw, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why shouldn't I when you've been so helpful? It'd be rude not to. And anyway, I think you're very pretty too. Oh my. Her face flushes from this more deeply than ever before. You ought to count yourself lucky, really, with all this excessive blushing, and the princess does not seem to possess any vampiric tendencies. You're making yourself quite the easy target. Now, why don't we go for a walk? It's a nice enough day, and I get so very bored of being cooped inside. Can't think of any particular objections to raise this remark, and you think the princess might have a point. The castle, though expansive, is somewhat stifling. The walls are so very thick that put your mind in the mind of a crypt. They're quaint square, leaves, outside, Sims log. Interesting. Ooh, pretty. We go to the courtyard. It's fenced in by the castle's walls, which look in the stark midlight, tall and imposing, faceless soldiers standing sentinel. While the sun is out, it is not particularly bright, and neither is it particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is a state of disarray. The flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. It's all rather depressing. The prince's castle might be grand in scale, but the courtyard itself is simple, hemmed in to a claustrophobic degree like a coffin. Princess Hellward seems not to share your dolorous mood. She instead looks elated by her newfound surroundings, her smile unwavering. She gumbles around like a lamb, What did this word? As she examines the weed-infested flower beds. Her frolicking comes to a cease, however, by a bush. One is full of bright red roses. Oh, how very pretty. Do you not think they're gorgeous, dear one? Flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose. They make for a fine spectacle, in fact, a warm, welcome splash of color when contrasted with the dullness and drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. But the other flowers in the beds are wilted, withered things, if not so for the roses. Ooh, could this be Beauty and the Beast? Methinks. Me thinking right now? Putting my head up, my tinfoil hat on. An abandoned castle. The teeth motifs? And roses. My thinking. Just like blood. Their heads so full they seem to almost drip beneath the weight of their gorge petals. Wow, that's okay, that's unscripted. But there's something unsettling about them too, something that is almost obscene. How did those roses become very red? What has been sustained? Are their bodies buried underneath the flowers? Could it be possible that the roses have been draining the life from the other flowers which are struggling to grow within this garden? I feel like that's a stretch. It's a fanciful thought, but... Oh, they're simply divine. Look at those roses, always lifts my spirits. They really are my most favorite flowers. I simply must pick some of them. Perhaps I can use them to decorate my bedchamber. It could use a bit of color. Watch her suggest her might appropriate flesh. Jesus. You better serve to worry about yourself. The princess holds her newly pilfered rose to her nose and inhales, her eyelids falling shut as the flower's sweet scent washes over her. A few moments of silence passed. Now, let me see. I wonder what fate has stored in for me. She loves me. Oh, she loves me not. Bloody snow. Okay. She loves me not. She loves me not. Fluted flower. Oh, the triumphant smile she declares. She loves me! I knew it! And watch the princess amused by her girlish good cheer. The little mantra she has been reciting is one that you are familiar with. The girls of the conservatoire also used to engage in this little game, the younger ones at least, who believed that a fairy tale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself when you were a child, but you had never pined your hopes and dreams on a handsome prince. Your interest in princesses has always been minimal. When it comes to fair princesses, though, well, that is a different matter altogether, isn't it? Okay. Pleasantly, you ask the princess whose love it is she wishes to court, an inquiry what makes the princess giggle. Oh dear one, who else could I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you. Naturally? She says it so easily as though you just suspected as much, and indeed part of you did. One to believe, yet part of you was afraid so. You do not want to be arrogant enough to assume the princess might care for your affections. It's been a day. We cannot keep doing this. You begin to blush, your cheeks almost as red as roses, while the princess laughs. She laughs and she laughs and she laughs, voice clear and sweet like a nightingale song, as though you're the funniest thing she's ever seen. You never liked being laughed at as you dwelt on the walls of the conservatoire, but it's different with her. You have not known her for that long, but you're already entranced by her and snared. Yeah, I know, you've known her less than 24 hours. She has you wrapped around her little finger. Oh my. The princess' laughter tapers off into a string of giggles and smiling. She wags her hand with the back of her hand. That was quite the amusing diversion, but I just had an idea. You look at the princess curiously. What idea? You can't tell? Cannot even begin to guess. I just thought that all this watching must be boring you. Tossing the rose strips then carelessly to the ground. You should give it a try. Please do. It'll be fun. I want to see what fate has in store for you too. Touch my enthusiasm. Okay. Walking towards you. Okay, we take the rose. Oh no! Oh. But there are thorns. The plane flares through your fingers and you grasp. You take one step back, the hem of your skirt switching around your ankles. Your fingers stinging and so are your eyes. You ought to have been more careful. Why are you so stupid? Oh, poor dear, you're bleeding! Then she frowns. This is all my fault. If I not suggested a silly game, this would have never happened. Please let me take care of you. How's she gonna do that? Get a fucking bandage! Girl, come on! Get up! Perhaps she means to take a handkerchief from her pocket, which she means to staunch her wound. Princes tend to carry handkerchiefs around them, don't they? Silken ones? How else would they get... Okay. Please hold still, this might sting a bit. Rather than take a handkerchief, she says, and closes her white silken fingers around her hand. Okay. Carefully, as though she's handling a precious object, she raises her hand, her eyes are fixed, all the while on the beads of startlingly crimson blood which are oozing luridly from your wound. She licks her lower lip. What the? Oh my god. No, that's so unhygienic! But your blood is red. Why do I get an achievement for this? She parts her mouth with a sigh, which borders on the sensuous, and she lifts her finger digit between her teeth. Okay. Again, not lost on me that she has teeth earrings. What is that about? So much for the princess not dispensing kisses as tokens of appreciation. It's not be a conventional kiss, but it feels intimate regardless. Almost startling so. Yes, this is... She's gonna eat us. She's gonna kill us. Okay. It's a little bit... You did not expect this. Oh, didn't I tell you I'm trying to stop the bleeding? Yeah, you can gather as much, but... Is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I? It is not making me uncomfortable, but it's rather awkward. Is she not worried about this being hygienic? Yes, we are on the same wavelength here. Unhygienic? The princess blinks. I don't know what you mean by that exactly. But I heard this is the best way to take care of cuts. My nursemaid used to do this for me when I was a child. It's what you're supposed to do. And you asked, did the mercenary keep staunching her wounds with her mouth when she got older? Well, no, my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old. That's the normal way of things. I had my lady's maids do look after me then. Oh, very interesting. And did they ever clean her wounds like this? No, because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself, silly. Okay, now that was so... Okay. Bitch. How dare you. I feel like all the blood's... Okay. How to stop? It would not be the first time. At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still sinks though. What? Girl, you're fine. Okay. The days pass, following your misadventures in the Rose Garden in a relaxed, unhurried sort of manner. Your mad dash to the forest is beginning to feel like a distant memory, and so much so you can scarcely recall the raw naked fear you once felt as you fled for your life. There's no running to be had while you're working for the princess. You would have nowhere else to run, and in any event, there's no longer any reason to run. The shadows which once tormented you have at long last begun to recede. You can scarcely recall as you lay down in your bed the petty cruelties you were subjected to by your classmates at the conservatoire. They no longer matter. Your attention is focused not upon yourself, but upon the princess. The more time you expend with her, the more you come to care for her. You become quite besotted with her, but you are yet to realize it. Well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be of her feelings? The princess is not so oh my god. The princess is not half so ignorant as you are, despite having spent her whole life within the palace walls. The weight of her own feelings are not unknown to her, and during one stormy night she chose to make them known to you. Oh. You are in the princess's chambers later perhaps than you ought to be, later than is strictly appropriate. It is dark outside, and there's little save the light of the moon to alleviate that, and the fire which crackles in the grate. You have only just finished stroking the fire, and now you rise. You look up to the princess, who's lying in her bed, and you bid her a good night as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you try to leave, but the princess's tentative voice gives you pause. Wait, dear one, do not go. Not just yet. Perplexed, you pause and look back at the princess. Though she is smiling, her expression is unusually wan. She alright? Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just nights like this, you know, which make me feel a little out of sorts. And what you asked, does she mean by that? Only that it is very cold and very dark. And it is very windy besides. I'm afraid there'll be a storm later. It was awfully cloudy earlier when we went out for our walk. The princess is not mistaken about that. The sky when the pair of you promenaded but the gardens earlier was grey and steely, the wind bitingly cold. And you can hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes in the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone and it is well fortified, but even with the fire, it is rather cold. You do not like to think of how much chillier by comparison it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace. It might sound childish, but I always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. They make me feel uncomfortable. You look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in her bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. Would she really be all alone in her oversized bed in her high-ceiling bedchamber? Oh my god, there was one bed. You know it is silly of you to contemplate such a query. Will she not be alright? There's nobody in the castle to hurt her, but still, you fret for her. As her lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. You ask the princess what it is she would have you do, and the princess perks up at this. Pleased perhaps that you're taking the initiative. I wouldn't want to take up too much of your time when it's so very late, but would you mind sitting with me a little longer and reading to me, provided that you can, of course? It's a fair enough question, but your pride bristles regardless. Hastily reassure the princess that yes, of course, you can read. You are a poor student in many aspects of the conservatoire, but you had something of a gift when it comes to the literary arts. Reading books is all you've ever been good at. I see. I suppose I should have known. You're so incredible, I sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do. Bertha's high praises make you flush. Awkwardly, you look away. Being able to read, you assure, is not such a grief. Perhaps it isn't where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly couldn't read the books that I like. This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask the princess what books exactly she likes. Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see, old ones from centuries past. I have a collection of them here. This book is old though, and the bindings are weak. The pages are brittle, the writing woefully old-fashioned. I didn't trust any of my past servants with that book. But I think you would do a good job breathing life into those old stories. Would you mind reading to me for just a brief while, please, dear one? Oh, please. The princess' request seems a simple one expressed sweetly, so much so you have no reason to refute her. You take one seat beside the princess upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Then you retrieve the leather-bound book, which is resting upon her bedside table, and spread it open. The pages of this book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the binding of the book are loose. You feel in the heft of the book's manifold pages the weight of the ages concealed within it. How old is this book? As old as the castle in which it resides. Okay, begin to read a tale of courtly love which culminates in a lavish wedding ceremony. Oh. All the while, as you read, the princess listens to you, enraptured, hanging, or it seems to be, upon your every word. Once you reached the final phrase embossed on the pages of the aged tome, and they lived happily ever after. The princess sighs as though this tale has touched her very soul. Well, that there was a handsome press. With that there was a handsome prince to marry me, she says somberly, or better yet, a beautiful princess. At this point, I think I would even settle for a low scullery maid. He blushed at this idle remark and mumbled softly that this would not be proper. The storm outside is still squalling, and you've never been one to raise your voice. You do not expect, therefore, the princess will overhear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against the pillows, and says, "And what would be the problem with that, hmm? As my maid, shouldn't my happiness come before any silly ideas of propriety?" "Well, of course," you reply, "but for a princess to marry a scullery maid..." "You're still hung up about that?" the princess titters. "Don't pay too much heed, I'm just talking to myself." As if anything like that would ever happen, when there's no priest around who would officiate it. You think there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, though she does present a good point. The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess were to find somebody that she loves, there would be nobody to make a wedding official. You cannot help but feel like you avoided a good deal of nuisance. But by the same token, do you not feel a touch disappointed? Well, never mind. That was a nice story, the princess says, but I'm not sleepy yet. It's still storming outside. Won't you read me one more? You would not mind, you reply, but it is getting late. You really ought to return to your own chamber. I know, but could you find it in your heart to read one more story to me? Just one? You could choose a short one. I won't complain. You have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not you think that because she's a princess, though that is, of course, a part of it, but because she is, well, radiant. You and not you think as you turn to the next story you've recounted in this age compendium what to upset her. You would rather cut your own tongue. Okay, a little drastic there, but alright. You read another story to the princess, which is of similar range to the last. Possible adventures culminating at their close in a happy marriage. This tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you read prior. If she begs for another, then another. One-bedroom stories soon becomes fives, and even then when the candles which flicker on the princess's bedsides are close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. Like a grasping, greedy child, she has never heard of moderation. When she wants something, she wants to glut herself with it, her only request out of more. And if she were less calmly, perhaps her inability to hear the word no would be seen as a character defect. The princess is very calmly, however, and so when she makes her next request, you almost agree offhand without considering the ramifications. I think I can go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I still feel lonely on my own in this big empty bed, so... I know. Why don't you sleep with me? You stare at the princess. Your eyes wide as goose eggs. Slowly you blink. Then just as slowly you bid her to repeat herself. Didn't you hear me? Maybe you've been so busy cleaning up after me you neglected to clean out your own ears. I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me? Is that the question she truly needs to ask? That's easy enough to answer. Of course you would like to sleep with her, it'd be an honor. But would it be right for you to accept such an invitation? Must be a gross breach of protocol. It definitely would be odd. She's waiting. Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tearing it so? Could it be... The princess' lower lips begin to tremble. Don't you want to lie with me after all? The sorrow present in the princess's voice and her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly you console her. You tell her in no uncertain terms that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. Why would you? What then? Don't just stand there dilly-dally, silly. Come and join me. Come. And that's what you do. After returning briefly to your own chamber to change to your nightgown. Once dressed, you waste no time returning to your impetuous princess's side. She was already lying in her glorious four-poster bed, awaiting your return as though you are a knight-errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. The princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you have made a haste of buttons, and she bids you to come closer. Let me fix that for you, Sally. Oh no. Should I not be your job to dress her? Maybe so, but I don't mind a bit of role reversal. It makes things for fun. She's gonna kill you in your sleep. Totally, that's gonna happen. You try a few more. Okay. Of Quite at the prince's mercy, she might even be more stubborn than you are. You capitulate to her demands. You let the princess unbutton the front of your nightdress, then rebutton them, so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn shut. Okay. Alright, now come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but these sheets are warm. And so am I. Okay. Oh. Looks left, looks right. You feel her warm yourself, you slide into bed beside the princess. Her face is as red as the gown the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle grounds. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know what effect she is having on you? Surely she must. How could anyone be so blind? There! The princess explains once your body is lying beside her. That is much better. Do you feel cozy now, dear one? You swallow, and with a shaky voice you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. You are quite cozy indeed. Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us here. I know, and I'm with you, and I'll be safe. Hold on. It's strange, but the princess reaches out and then takes your hand in hers, twining her fingers together like a chain. When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's as though nothing in the world can hurt me, and you make me feel so safe, so I want to make sure you feel safe too. I'll take very, very good care of you, I promise. You return her smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness, though something about her promises make you wonder. Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic? In a way, the princess replies after a pause, but you've been taking good care of me already. Now I need to return the favor. As a princess, I'm supposed to look after my vessels. It's all part of the job description. You are unaware that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with far fewer written responsibilities. Okay. Princess sleepily, and she laughs. You do say some funny things, dear one. I think you must be tired. Rest your head, you've been working so hard, I think you deserve it. Yes, you think when you have conscience, you think you deserve it too. We have been working hard for some long time. Have been running for even longer. But now at long last, you feel like you can let your fears go. Your eyelids begin to droop, your body belligerent by all of a sudden consuming fatigued. In a quiet, understated sort of way, your consciousness is conveyed to Morpheus' kingdom. Your sleep is the deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. The wind is howling like a couple of wild cats, both locked in a vicious, bloodthirsty bout to the death, but you do not hear it. Swaddled by the warm blankets about you, and soothed by the princess's presence, you are immune from all the ills of the world. When you're with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and, yes, you even feel loved. It is a pity, then, that these feelings do not last for very long. Of course. You know that something is wrong catastrophically so the moment you open your eyes. Your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you're certain that when you fell asleep, it was in a bed, a nice warm bed no less, beneath soft and comfortable sheets. You're not lying in your bed right now, though. You're in fact not lying at all. Oh. Oh. You're standing inside against a cold, hard wall made of stone. The curve of your back is pressed against the wall so intimately you can feel its icy chill seeping to the fabric of your nightgown. Your feet, which are bare and are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. They feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You're trembling so much you can feel your teeth clattering together, they sound like castanets. The sound is almost as jaunting as it echoes through your cell, for that is indeed where you are. The princess bedchamber wherein you fell asleep is a thing now of the past. Ah, in the dungeon. We're not the only one in the dungeon. Mandible walls, lights. They're all dead. Bodies, oh my god. Stained with blackish blood. Gaping wound in her stomach. One thing which seemed to— oh my god. She's skinnier. Jesus. Missing overarms, lower half. Ghastly, but they basically case enough to turn your stomach. You do not know how long these carcasses have been lying down here, but they have begun to putrefy. Well, you should just stay here. Fitfully, you struggle against the manacles which bind you, but alas, it is no use. You cannot free yourself from its walls. Much too strong. Actually, let me quick. Let's see. There we go. Not that that would not have worked. I don't know. You're making enough noise to raise the dead down there in your dark, dingy cell, and all your screaming is hardly helping matters. I wish that we cease this infernal racket, but I know you will not. Nothing I say could ever get through to you. Why did you ever listen to me in the first place? Perhaps you would listen to her, though. Is she not your kind, considerate mistress? Look now, she has come all this way into the dark depths of your castle's cold and hospitable dungeon to see you. Is that not kind of her? Oh, dear one! It seems like you finally have awoken. How are you? Based on the infernal racket you've been making, it seems like you have no shortage of energy. Faithfully, you turn her head to meet the eyes of the princess. She is standing but a few paces away beneath a roughly hewn stone arch which binds one entry to the dungeons. Makes me think of romance. Violence. You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That was unfair of me. I did think of waiting here with you by your side until you woke, but... Once again, the princess giggles, a light, airy giggle which does not at all suit the situation in which you found yourself. A dungeon is not a fit place at all for a princess. It is horribly cold here and so very drab, and there's nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. I could have brought my pillows down for my bed, I suppose, and my blankets. But then they would have gotten dirty, and that would be a disaster. I need to be more careful. I won't have anyone left to clean up after messes soon. Not when I have dispatched of you. Oh lord. She's going to kill you. Yes, that's right. Could you not tell? I thought you might have figured that out already after waking up in a dungeon, silly. Still smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. With that, you could cringe away from her, but you cannot. You're completely powerless. The princess reaches out and places a hand upon your cheek. Her skin is very white, and though her touch is cool, it is less so than the frigid air in the dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess' touch is gentle, and you find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. You wish she would keep holding you. How can you relax like this? You're such a good girl. You've been so lovely to me while we've been together. I really couldn't have asked for a better servant. I feel as though I've been spoiled. Why then, you ask her, is she doing this? Improbable though as it sounds, she must be the one who chained you up there. There's no one else in the castle who committed such a feat. Everyone else is dead. Why yes, how very astute of you. I was the one who orchestrated all of this naturally. Naturally, she says, as though her betrayal is a matter of course. Naturally. Why, you ask, is this so natural to her? What does she mean to do with you? Oh, only what I've done to all my other servants. I've experienced with this sort of thing, so please don't worry. I'll take good care of you. And by took care of, she means, naturally, I'll kill you. There it is again, the word which seems so grossly inappropriate given all of which has transpired. Naturally. There's nothing natural about this. Do you not think so? The princess examines you, her expression ponderous. It is natural to me, even if it isn't natural to other people. It just feels right. Imprisoning her servants in the dungeon and letting them die? Yes, exactly. There is a bit more to it, though. Oh, of course there is. I like you, dear one. You have been good to me, like I said, and kind, and for that I will be eternally appreciative. You've been so good to me, in fact, that simply being with you is not enough. Not anymore. Your company can no longer content me. I'm a greedy, selfish girl, you see. The princess' smile widens to something sinister, her eyes flashing with a fiendish fever you have never before witnessed. And I don't want to feel you beside me. I want to feel you inside me. Oh my god, is she a cannibal? Well, of all the things your charming captain could have said, you did not expect that. Okay. I can see that you don't understand, dear one, but you aren't the only one. My last lady's maid said that too. The one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. I thought that you at least might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. I don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But my way of looking at the world is a little bit unique. That's what my nurse always used to say, at least when she had the breath to speak, of course. Oh god. It's simple, really. Like I said, you were wondering, weren't you, why there weren't any guards or any servants in the castle when you first arrived here? The question had crossed your mind, yes. You were sure that the princess said her minister set them away, though. Was that a lie? I wasn't being wholly truthful, no. I thought you'd be afraid of me if you knew what actually happened, and I didn't want that. I wanted you to stay with me. My ministers didn't set anyone away because I don't have any ministers. I dispatched them too. Did she know? Suppose you ought not to be surprised. My ministers weren't very much fun, I'm afraid. I had a lot of ideas what I should and shouldn't do after my parents died. So, I killed them. I killed my servants too, though I did a bit more of a thorough job with them than I did my ministers. I did not care for my ministers, you see, they were fussy old men. But I did love my servants. I loved my ladies' maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and my large retinue of retainers. They were like my family. They raised me in my parents' absence, and I adored them. They were so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. Does that follow? Not logically, no. Why would you eat the people that you love? This is a poor way to repay them for their kindness. Well, why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? I don't think there could be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude unless you have any better ideas. You weren't expecting the princess to turn tables on you quite like this, and dumbfounded you stare at her. You know precious little about love yourself, so it is hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you muster up a few token arguments. You tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice. About a way to show gratitude to servants would be increased wages or increased holidays. The princess listens to your arguments, her expression astute, like a student posed to take notes in a very important lecture. Once you're finished, however, her concentration fails her. Her shoulders begin to shake, but it is not with the remorse for what she has done. Instead, she is laughing. Oh dear, that's very funny, but why should I care about the law? I'm a princess. One day I'll be queen. I am the law. Okay. What subjects? I'm not fool. You know, no matter how I might act, I know what happens beyond the castle's walls. I know all about the plague. Once I might have a population to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess is nothing but name only. A monarch without any subjects. Don't you think that's sad? I know I do. It's so woefully lonely. Perhaps not to you, but I shouldn't judge you too harshly. As much as I like you, dear one, you are a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts. Hardly doubt that anybody would be able to understand the intricacy of the prince's thought process, largely because it's unreasonable. Why, you ask? It's because I don't want you to leave me, of course. Everybody leaves sooner or later, whether they have pledged their allegiance to me or not. That is simply the way of the world. People are fickle and inconstant, even to me, a monarch. That is why I decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure that they would never leave me. When you think about it, they should be grateful that I would demean myself to consume their flesh and blood. I'm a magnanimous ruler, you see, and I treat all my subjects equally. I love every single one of you. And naturally, I love you too. You've been awfully nice to me. You are very pretty alongside it. If you were a plain ugly girl, perhaps I would have showered you with affection quite as intense as this, but you captured my heart. I think you're lovely. So I'll bestow upon you the highest honor I can conceive of. I want your body to mix with mine. Then we could stay together forever and ever. The princess leans in. You can feel her soft silken hair brushing against her cheeks. You can feel too the warmth of her breath as it goes against her skin. It is a cold and dungeon, but the prince's close proximity is, perverse though this might sound, something of a comfort. Her eyes are wide and her lips are so red. Her smile, meanwhile, is so sweet. I've been doing my best to fulfill the role that fate has dictated for me, but really... The princess exhales. Her eyes, which are boring into yours, are two dark tarns. Finally, I think you could see an alarming lack of light, the lack of anything, in the princess's gaze some degree of humanity. It gets so lonely here. But this brief flicker of understanding which passes between the pair of you is soon cut short. The princess dips her head, parts her lips which are red the petals of carnivorous flower. You feel the princess bite breath against your neck. Oh my god. The princess's mouth is on your neck. Her teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh, draining your blood. Is she a vampire? There's no way. Oh, wait, no. She's a cannibal. Okay. Worldly. Okay. Simply the way. Never experience. The soul of the princess eclipses everything you've ever known before. It eclipses insanity. It eclipses reason. It's all notions you might have once right or wrong. Oh, Lord. Her teeth, which are impossibly inhumanly sharp, glint pointedly like knives. She then tears out your throat. The front of your nightgown was white once. Now it is red. There's so much blood you can smell when you inhale, sharper than metal. It is so potent you can taste it on your tongue. You try to inhale, but this task proves beyond you, with your twin perforations that have ruptured your skin. Your attempted breaths when they escaped your lips sound like sad, sorry wheezes. Ugh. Her whole body, meanwhile, feels like it's on fire. Make her quite the sorry start indeed. But you'll forgive me, my sympathy is limited. Get this spring upon yourself, you know. Rupert, though, in that case, you made a series of bad decisions that led to your ultimate timely demise. What do I do? Oh, you can still fight against fate? Fuck. But you know what? I think we're gonna end the game there so you can play it. Good thing I saved. So, we are going to accept the fate. And electric doesn't be left to rot. None of the other options were good. Kind of. So be it. Fire fled. I will never leave you. Oh, interesting. You'll never be lonely again. Ooh. Alright. Even though that is the end for It Gets Lonely here, series-wise, part-wise, I suggest, if you're interested in the game, go check it out. Obviously there seems to be a little bit more to the story, but I'm gonna do that off-stream. We're gonna take a bit of a break. I'm going to end the YouTube stream. I'm just gonna pause. Twitch stream is still gonna keep going while I take a bit of a break, maybe like 10 minutes. And then we'll hop into In Stars in Time. My main goal for that is to at least get the 3rd floor, making the bomb, getting to the king, and getting more information. And then, yeah, so a bit of a break, so we're gonna be right back. Talk to you in a bit.